Welcome everybody. Let's just jump into it. First item on RAM limitation fixes, the discovery and research. This is I think this is still paused. Is that correct, Bart?
Matt's still making some progress on it. We've got almost everything we need to produce the report that we're going to produce. We're just missing a few kind of key findings and maybe some reproducible cases so that other people can see those numbers themselves. That's been delayed a little bit because we pulled Matt into some of the other priorities we have, such as Finality, helping us review that. So it's slowed him down a little bit on the RAM limitations.
Good. Does anybody have any questions for Bart on that?
When do you think there's going to be something actionable for us? I have a team that's wrapping up wax projects, and I have them slated to actually start executing on some of the recommendations.
That's a good question. I don't want to make any promises right now. I know we have enough to where if we needed to have a tech team to tech team meeting, we could probably explain enough to get started at this point. We just don't quite have enough for like the full formal report that we'd like to publish. So that's really the phase we're in. I think the findings are sound. We're just trying to get all the things we would need to kind of put out a reasonably well produced draft of what we found. But that doesn't prevent us from sharing some of those findings earlier and kind of like direct engineer conversations, if that makes sense.
That would be awesome. Could we schedule something then, maybe in like next week or 2 weeks after that, depending on your schedule? Would love to get our team involved and start looking into this.
I'd like to also get the invite to that meeting. That's okay.
Okay. Yeah. Jeff, do you want me to coordinate that, or do you want to take that action item to coordinate across the three teams?
It's really up to you. I don't have a problem coordinating it.
I'll leave Jeff to coordinate. I don't need to be involved. That's okay.
2 weeks. We've got Bart, Lucas, and Guillaume, right?
Yes, please.
Anybody else need to be in that?
Yeah, Aaron from our side, so I can send you his email right now. Give me a second.
Okay. All right, and Bart, who on our team should be in there?
At the very least, just me and Matt. I will invite other engineers to see if they want to come, but they would be completely optional. Those are the two critical pieces are me and Matt.
Okay, sounds good.
And Jeff, just to confirm, the Aaron that you wrote is not the Aaron that is currently on the call. It's right. The Aaron from Wax.
Yep. Yeah, good point. That's why I put it.
But the reason why I'm bringing it up is Aaron on the call. Do you want to also be on there? Potentially. I mean, I think at least having visibility on what's happening there might be good from an SDK perspective. Or, yeah.
I'm probably out of town that week, I think. I don't know if I'm available, but if I could be invited, and then don't be offended if I can't make it. I have a very strong interest in this.
On the call.
Okay. I will look for something in 2 to 3 weeks from now.
Super. And I just sent you Aaron's email as well, so you can just add him directly. Thanks.
Given the fact that I can't see the majority of the calendars, I might send like a Calendly link, or I can't remember the other tool I used last time, but something like that, where I might look at Bart and Matt's calendars, find a bunch of available spots there, send everybody links, and then you guys can tell us when you're available. But I'll get it coordinated. All right. Next thing, P2P Optimized Transaction. So some of these components we've swept into a larger P2P improvements process. in some work, some of which will be as part of the LEAP 5.0 release later this year. What I don't have to present today is, and I should be able to get this, maybe even send it out, is a list of what those features are that are going to be, that we are considering part of LEAP 5.0. I do not know off the top of my head how much of the depth of optimized transaction propagation specifically is part of that. Bart, I don't mean to keep throwing stuff out to you, putting you on the spot, but is that something you could speak to, or is that something you'd rather have me look at offline and send something out?
I prefer offline and send something out. I don't want to talk over the product guys, and they've got good control of the roadmap and good visibility of what's going to make it in for the 5.0 timeline versus what will slip past it. So I don't want to speak out of turn or give you incorrect information.
Okay, that's fair. And I'm assuming, Ted, you'll same instructions from you, like take this offline and then I can send something out.
Yes, please.
Okay, sounds good. Now the second P2P project, the Peer Discovery, I believe that's going well. I think towards the end of this month, they are trying to wrap things up for their final milestone review. I don't know if Guillaume and Aaron, you guys have been contacted yet for that, but if not, I expect that to be soon.
Wrong Aaron again. But it's as far as I know, it's gonna be deployed on Jungle imminently. So that was the last I heard on that front. So yeah, I think we're getting close to something.
Okay, you know what? I apologize, Aaron Cox. Like I do this to you
No problem.
every time. Like, okay, good. So, and then hopefully, our next meeting here, we will be looking in the rearview mirror and talking about how well it's doing on Jungle at that point.
All right, we'll pass that one. Jeff, if you don't mind, the core LEAP team knows that they're distributing a patch to work on Jungle, but looking at the PRs that have actually hit our repository so that we can have some visibility and review, those seem very stale and not complete as far as the patch is concerned. If there's any way we could reach out to them and ask them to either update those PRs so that they are at least pointing to like what they are running on Jungle, so we could start our kind of integration review as well, I think that would facilitate later milestones or later acceptance into the actual mainline branch, because there's an entire conversation there that we haven't really started having yet about getting the final product into the actual mainline code.
Okay, I will reach out to Fuman, who's the project manager on that, immediately and get him to coordinate that and close that loop for you.
Thank you.
Right. All right, Gio, would you like to speak to Instant Finality and IBC? I mean, you started a little bit earlier, but you might want to add a little bit.
Absolutely. So first of all, I'd like to thank Bart and the GNF engineers for their work reviewing everything. It's finally moving along. So like now it's I guess a bit later than we had hoped, but definitely there's some movement now and things are progressing. So that's very good. We'll see. We're still uncertain about any of the timelines because everything kind of depends on the speed at which these reviews can be performed. And as you guys understand, we were quite late on the original schedule. We had originally the specifications, the first milestone that was supposed to be approved late last year, and we're still reviewing these. The review of the specifications has only started a couple of weeks ago. So we did some work in the meanwhile. Fortunately we were able to progress in the meanwhile, but there was a 7-month gap between the moment at which the specifications would be approved and the moment at which code would be essentially released on testnet. So obviously now, considering the specifications are not yet approved yet at this point,
it's still uncertain what work is going to have to be done based on the review, and what needs to be adjusted from that, and all the work that remains to be done. So it's still very, like I said, very uncertain in terms of timelines. We're definitely committed to doing whatever is possible to deploy this before the end of the year. But at this stage, it really depends on the rate at which the review progresses. So this is for instant finality. There was also a milestone that was completed recently, which was the BLS intrinsics. So essentially, originally, as part of our contract, we were supposed to deliver BLS aggregate signatures, and then we originally discussed with ARIG the possibility to take a step back and to, instead of only delivering these aggregate signatures, to build more like low-level cryptographic intrinsics, which we did and which have now been reviewed. But that turned out to be a massive, massive undertaking. So something that was supposed to take about a month of work ended up taking 6 or 7 months. It's extremely good quality code. This is something that has just been merged now into the code base, and that will allow for extremely interesting use cases, as we've discussed, I believe, on the last call, including confidential transactions, including secret ballot voting, including all sorts of enhancements, I guess, for GameFi and for DeFi in general. So I understand that we took that mandate, we accepted this, we didn't ask for more money. We're not asking for more money or anything either, but I would still encourage you, as the representatives of each of these chains, to look at what you're funding right now and see if there's any additional money that's available to pay the developer a little bit of extra for what they've done. The developer in question is Matthias Schombeck from the ZEOS protocol. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, like I said, like this was a massive, massive undertaking, took 6 months, and it has improved the core capabilities of Antelope very, very significantly. Like it's still early days, but this is essentially like 10 times faster than the out-BN intrinsics that were there before, and it's 100 times faster than the equivalent code written in WASM. So I don't know what you guys are what are your objectives at this point, but this is another, I guess, I know it's another game-changing narrative that can be definitely promoted, and I think it would be very, very helpful if you had any sort of like funds to spare to recognize the work that has been done. It's not mandatory. That was not part of our contract, but kind of goes both ways. We did it, and we funded it despite not being a part of our mandate of what was required of us. And now everyone is going to benefit from it. So, like I said, I encourage you strongly to look at what you can do, what you can spare. And if there's anything that can be done on that front, Matthias would definitely be appreciative for the work that he's done. I will personally give him a UTX grant as well for the work that has been done to the tune of like $20,000 worth of UTX, in addition to the money that I've paid him to work on this. So in any case, like I said, your generosity is welcome and appreciated. Now, on another topic on IBC.
Before you go on, could you just, where could I see the specifics of the implementation, just to see exactly?
I will forward that immediately.
Thank you.
I'm also interested in that as well, because
this is a
big great to kind of, it will be great to kind of see, like, you know, here's the initial scope, and this is how much we went beyond that, and I would like to, you know, just kind of gauge the level of effort in terms of like maybe man hours or man days that we went beyond to kind of gauge.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna forward that to the Telegram group, and this is essentially like it brings us basically neck to neck with the Ethereum implementation of the same intrinsics. So this is the basis for all confidential transaction protocols that exist on Ethereum, for all the ZK Snarks, ZK Starks, ZK mechanisms that exist out there. So now this is essentially going to be added to the Leap 5.0 upgrade. So this is again like a foundational piece that will dramatically increase the potential, I guess, of Antelope as a whole. So yeah, I'm gonna just share this with you guys, and then like I said, if there's any funds available, by all means, Matthias would be very appreciative. He's worked really, really hard. He went through a very I guess like grueling process of having this reviewed. That essentially mobilized the top engineers at the ENF for like several months. And it was a very, very big lift from his part. Okay, and there's another thing I want to bring up as well with regards to IBC. Right after this call, I have another call with some other members of the ENF, and we're essentially going to be we're preparing a IBC AMA, which is going to be a technical presentation plus Q&A intended mostly towards developers. So we've had quite a few, given quite a few interviews and quite a few fireside chat presentations and whatnot about IBC and more of a, I guess, like more for the general public. But now what we discussed was the potential, the benefits of having a technical AMA instead, where we would go a really make a really deep dive into the specifics of the IBC protocol, how it works, how to build applications on top of it, how the mechanisms function, and all of the fun stuff. So this is really intended for a technical audience, for people that intend to build additional tools on top of IBC, want to use it as a building block for additional applications that we might envision. So we will be essentially deciding today if this is going to take place next week or the week after, or maybe at an ulterior date. But anyone that would be interested or that knows developers that would be interested, by all means, you can contact me, and I'm going to make sure that they get an invite when this event takes place. It's going to be recorded, of course, but yeah, like I said, we want to target advanced developers and have a very high level technical discussion there. And this is going to serve as the basis for additional technical material. So the idea is that we're going to record this, and then we're going to send that to the technical documentation teams, and they will extract the content. They will take all of this and refine the documentation, FAQ, and all of that, and provide, I guess, the basis for a technical, I guess, framework for building things on top of IBC. So anyway, yeah, just reach out to me if you have an interest in participating. And that's about it.
All right, great. Any questions on that? All right. Thank you for the update. Now, Aaron, and I really do mean you, Aaron, if you would like to talk about the SDK, it would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Just yesterday, we put out the next iteration of the warpkit.com website, which is now more than just a blog. It is going to serve as kind of a developer landing page for people that are building web-based applications in this space for all chains. We try to kind of point out to the various chains and some of their documentation and things like that. Any feedback on that is always welcome. This step forward is now for us to release the first bits of documentation and guides for people to be able to, get started by themselves. And alongside that, we locked down and released the first version, like version 1.0 of the session kit. And I guess just as a refresher for what that is, the session kit was the reprioritization we did in early spring, I think it was. It is the replacement for UAL. It's the replacement for EOS.js. It is it's the stuff that we have had in the past, and this is now kind of the next iteration of that. After lots of feedback, lots of calls, we've been having weekly calls or bi-weekly sometimes calls with the developers in the space that want to engage on this from most of the chains that are represented here to make sure that it fills those voids or, the needs that those past products offer. So the 1.0 is released. We're going to start really pushing developers to start adopting this code base. And so far, it's been really positive feedback from the developer space about the things that they're able to do now much more easily than they have in the past. So we are going to continue to iterate on that. From a milestone perspective, the session kit is all but done from the project plan specifically. But like I just said, we're going to keep iterating on it based on improvement. We do have support kind of built into the contract we have. So there will be more updates coming to that. The next big thing coming is the contract kit, which was the thing that we've never had. And it is kind of an abstraction layer on smart contract data and making sure that developers are more easily able to access the data from their contracts and use it in their applications. The flip side of that is also this code generation suite that comes with the contract kit, which takes basically ABI data and the definition of the contract itself and generates code for them that is based on that. It's going to really help the developer experience and make sure that they are, like, there's auto completion and there's type hinting and there's all these other things that developers may need or may benefit from while they're actually building their application. That is in a early release state. I think it's a 0.3 version right now. We have some people starting to experiment with it. I think the code itself is, from the contract side, is getting to a point where it's worth experimenting with and providing feedback on, sort of like we did with the session kit in the late spring, early summer. And we're hoping to have kind of an MVP of that in the not too distant future and be able to use the new website to promote that and document it and really show it off. There's a couple other parts left in the project that are in the really early prototype phases, and that's some of these external APIs that we're wrapping. There may be a fourth kit coming for that. We're not sure about that quite yet. It's something we're heavily discussing right now. And then the account kit, which is for developers to be able to basically work with the system contracts in their applications more easily. So those two kits, lots of documentation coming up. We're going to continue evolving this website so that way if somebody wants to build on any of these chains, it is, there's going to be one home for smart contracts because that's a completely different world. And then when you want to build a web application, hopefully wharfkit.com is going to be that place where you'll be able to get all the information you need. So we're happy to link out from the site to any chain's specific documentation for, the variants and differences that each chain may have for some of these things. And then you guys are welcome to start linking out to that as we flesh this out a little bit more and make it really a home that explains how you build these types of apps. So yeah, all is going well. I would say from the project planning perspective, we might be a little bit behind the ball, but a lot is happening in parallel, and we're still pretty confident there's going to be some form of production-ready release of all of this by our scheduled time. The documentation might bleed a little bit over depending on how quickly we can collect feedback from the community, write that sort of knowledge that they need. So,
all right, thank you. Any questions for Aaron? All right, that's the end of the planned agenda items. Does anybody have any final things you would like to add today? All right, well then I will call it. Everybody have a great month, and we'll see you in September.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thanks, guys.